So what we're going to talk about is, and what we would have talked about several weeks ago, is television and its development really over the last 80 years or so. Specifically, we're going to get started by talking about how we use television, and within that, um, a discussion of a theory that applies to television, technological determinism, then how the television technology developed, and then a specific technology that is very important to the development of television itself, that is videotape, and then really kind of where we are today with digital. A theory that really applies to television is one that has already been applied to other sorts of communication technology, specifically the printing press. The printing press, when it was developed and introduced by Gutenberg, really made a significant change in nations, societies, cultures, not just in Europe, but also really all around the world. And you really can apply the same technology or the same theory to television. Technological determinism is the theory that the introduction of a technology changes society, and you could widen that to changes the world, sometimes in unexpected ways. And really, like I say, it's a theory that's applied to the printing press, but I think can also be applied to television, because television is everywhere. It's omnipresent. It is really kind of the base from which a lot of new technologies have come. The fact that television is available not only in the box in our living rooms, but also on our laptops, on our tablets, in our cell phones. It's really a significant change, a significant technology that has really changed the world. So how do we use television? Lots of different ways. The first and probably most prominent, of course, is entertainment. Television first was looking for programming, so movies that were out of the theaters, that were just kind of sitting on the shelves, theater or movies became one of the staples of programming for television. Then, as networks were formed, more and more television programs were generated, and these became really kind of the staple as far as entertainment. We'll talk about some of the genres of entertainment television, from dramas to comedies to variety shows to game shows to news. All of these are there for that, and the idea is that they appeal to us, and so we will pay attention to that. And of course, in modern times, television is now available not just on the big bulky television sets that are in our homes, but also now on our cell phones and on our tablets and on our computers. Of course, watching movies at home has changed as well. We've gone from having to be in front of the television at a specific time to watch a specific film, to being able to record on videotape, and then to be able to buy buy movies and watch them in really high quality on DVDs. And then the evolution of recording technologies on DVRs, so that we can watch them at our leisure. A second way that we use television is news and information. And these can be synonymous, but they can also be equally unique. News, of course, the majority of us use television as our primary source of news. Unfortunately, this is to the detriment of newspapers and magazines. And it is primarily because of its convenience and the fact that television news takes us there. It shows us the place and what's going on at the time. So for the vast majority of us, television news is where we get our news, and particularly news that is happening in front of our eyes. Clearly, the most significant event that demonstrates this is 9/11. 81% of the population in the United States saw the towers come down on 9/11 on television, and really kind of to the credit of the anchors who were watching that event happen in front of us. They just kind of shut up and really kind of let the pictures say it all, because there really weren't many words that you could use to describe what was happening. But what's important as well is that a large majority of those turning to television on 9/11 stayed with television as their primary news source. And again, this has led to a decrease in the number of readers of magazines and newspapers, and less listenership for radio. As I said, news and information can be equitable, but at the same time, they can be separated out. Think of information more as the information channels that are available on cable or on satellite as well, and of course nowadays on demand on the internet. Channels like the History Channel, ESPN, the Golf Channel, the Tennis Channel, all of these channels that have specific reasons for being. They have particular topics or particular areas for their programming. And their primary focus is to provide information related to that topic or a variety of topics. This information can be entertaining, but the primary reason for it is to provide information for the viewing audience. Certainly, television has become a social medium. As we've talked about before, radio was a social medium, film was a social medium, and again, the demise or to the detriment of those other media, television became a social media as well. There are different areas that you can look at. One is family interaction. Prior to the popularity of television, the dinner table was where families got together and communed socially and ate and interacted, telling each other about their days and, what did you learn in school today, Jimmy? The dinner table nowadays very often has a television set in the kitchen, and a lot of people are watching television as they are eating their meals. Think about your family room. You may have a living room which is there strictly for formal entertaining, but you may have a family room where the family basically gets together socially. And then think about how the furniture is configured. Is it configured in a kind of a circle for communication, or is it configured around the television so that everybody in the family can come in and watch television together? Think about what you talk about with your friends with respect to media. There might be something that you saw on television, or maybe there's a program that has become very popular, and because your friends are watching it, you want to watch it too. So very often what we see on television becomes what we talk about with our friends, with our family. And so it becomes very social in that respect. Certainly, television is economically important to our society. Billions of dollars change hands every year in advertising, but it's also how we learn about products that we want to buy or products that are being sold. 25% of all advertising is on television, somewhere around 60 to 70 billion dollars per year. Not only is advertising responsible for generating lots of money um, for people to go out and buy products, but also you can actually buy those products that on television. Um, and these are the home shopping networks that are on cable. They show you various products. You can order from them nowadays, or you can order on internet shopping services like Amazon. Certainly, politics has become a major factor, a major contributor to the television landscape. It used to be that as a nation, we would go through political seasons. About every 2 years, there would be a major election coming up with people running for Congress, people running for state legislature, for governor, and then, of course, every 4 years, a presidential election, which included many of those, but also the highest office in the land of the president. Now it's pretty much we are in a continuous political season. Political points of view and the advertising of those political points of view are so much a part of television nowadays. Whether it is actually television or political advertising or it is part of some of the news channels. Politics is so big, and political advertising is so big in television. It's so big, in fact, that political campaigns for candidates usually have people who are known as campaign managers. They're the ones who come in and really kind of direct a whole political campaign, and usually they are paid pretty handsomely for that. Nowadays, instead of getting cash or completely getting cash for their services, political campaign managers often instead get what are called points, television points, meaning that depending on how much that campaign spends on television advertising, the campaign manager will get a certain percentage of that money. And since television advertising in politics is so big, nowadays getting up into hundreds of millions, even into billions of dollars, that means that those political managers are getting more and more money simply because of the television political advertising. And it's also the fact that TV stations really love political seasons because this is where they can make a lot of money on political advertising. It's also television that really gives us a look at other countries, other nations, and the politics, not only internally of that country, but how the politics may affect our country. So television has gone not only national in its politics, but also international. So those are some of the ways that politics or that television is used. Certainly, if you can, I suspect that there are probably other ways that television is used, but really, I mean, this suggests that television is everywhere. You can't go to an airport, you can't go to a bar, you can't really go to a restaurant or any place without having television there. And of course, now with the technology advancements to the extent that you can take television with you wherever you go, including on your cell phones, including on your tablets, and other social media that you might have.